Hello everybody and welcome back to another weekly vlog. So this is going to be a bit of a chatty one rather than just checking in, checking out and letting you know kind of what fitness things I'm getting up to. I thought I would go right back and tell you about my fitness journey up until now. So get yourself your favourite drink, get yourself comfy and settle in because we're going way back to 2012. So I thought I'd start the story at the point where I left uni in 2012 when I was definitely at my heaviest weight. Now that was all down to takeaways and drinking and living the student lifestyle really. And I didn't really have much regard for what my body looked like or what my body could do or health and fitness or what food I was putting into my body. It didn't cross my mind really very much then. But I was definitely at my heaviest weight and my jeans sizes kept going up and there was a point where I don't know what made me, in fact, you know what? I joined a cheerleading squad. And that was just for something fun. I used to do dancing when I was a kid and I wanted to get back into dancing. And I thought it would be good fun. So I was part of the uni cheer squad, kind of in and out, and we did a bit of training. But when I joined like a proper cheer competitive squad, we were training 2 hours sessions 3 times a week. So there was 6 hours of exercise that I hadn't been doing before. And I subconsciously kind of dropped the takeaways anyway because I was training so often. I didn't really have the time to be like ordering takeaways, if that makes any sense at all. It really doesn't, but that's just what happened. And then I found I had dropped like half a stone over a couple of months and I hadn't even noticed it. My jeans that I'd bought in the bigger size then didn't fit and I was like, oh, okay. So that was October 2012, I think, that I joined that cheer squad, and I was a member of that cheer squad for about a year, and then it kind of just disbanded and dissolved, and don't know what really, I think the coach moved away and it all just kind of stopped. So in January 2014, I think, is the point that I remember being like, right, I'm going to do something more. I'm going to get fitter. I'm going to get healthier. So I remember I found Kayla at Cines on, it must have been, I don't know if it was Instagram around in 2012, probably found her on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. And she had a 12-week bikini body guide or bikini body blitz or whatever it was called. And I remember one of my best friends on Facebook put up a post saying, does anybody want to come to MetaFit with me or something like that? And I remember replying and saying, well, I'm starting doing this. I've already done week 1, but join me for the rest. And we did that together, and it was 3 quite intense, like 30 odd minutes workouts a week, and it was body weight and resistance training, but just in the house. You didn't need a gym or anything. So we met up 3 times a week to do that for the 12 weeks. And also part of that was to incorporate 2 days of low intensity, steady state cardio or whatever it was. So it was long walks basically, quite fast paced, but long walks. And I did that twice a week as well. I think we did a little bit more, me and my friend. I think we did some running and we did some gym stuff as well. And through that process, I was tracking meticulously on MyFitnessPal. It was probably the first time I properly tracked calories and started to learn about portions and nutrients that's in food, like what protein, carb and fat was, and what the micros and what the macros and all of that sort of stuff. That's probably what first opened my eyes to all of that kind of thing, and I loved it. And in that time I dropped a stone, which was quite a lot because I am only like 5'1" on a good day. I'm like 5 foot and 3/4 of an inch tall, and I was definitely overweight. But at that point, that was actually even lighter than I am now. So I've got a bit of a way to go. But we'll get to that. And so yeah, so I dropped that stone and I managed to maintain that weight for a good 2 years after that because I was so into just exercising. I think I tracked for a bit longer. I think I maybe tracked until the middle of the summer that year. And then I just started to kind of eat from what I'd learned through tracking. So I thought it was very, very valuable tracking, but it was it wasn't that I became obsessed, but it was quite restrictive in that when there was like social events and stuff, I was kind of having tuna pasta before I went out, and then only drinking like 3 vodkas and cokes, or measuring out my vodka in a bottle to take to like a party and that kind of thing. And it is restrictive, and it wasn't the way of life that I really, really wanted. But so that's probably what stopped me tracking. But I did manage to maintain that lower weight for a really, really long time. So then in the October of 2015, I moved over to another place, which is I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, now my husband, and I joined a gym here, which is where we live now, and I was a member of that gym for 3 years, and it was so good. I would go 3-4 days a week after work. I did all the classes, I did the gym stuff, I got programs made, and I followed it. I loved it. It was like my second home, but it was in a kind of healthy second home. It wasn't like I was doing it obsessively. I was doing it because I enjoyed it, and I loved that gym. I think all the personal trainers there were absolutely fantastic, and a lot of my favourite ones actually left just kind of towards the end of when I was leaving. But I loved that lifestyle. I worked in Edinburgh, so I was having to get a train quite early in the morning. So sometimes I would go in the morning. Most often I would go straight from work. Bearing in mind I had no children or commitments at that point in my life. There was literally just work and gym, and obviously like my social life and family life and stuff like that, but no children to be having to get cover to care for them whilst I was exercising, or childcare sorted out or anything like that. During that whole 3 years I wasn't tracking. I was just enjoying the fitness and the health and the classes and the community and everything like that. So because I loved fitness so much at that point, I decided I was going to become a personal trainer. So in the job that I was in at that point, I was a relatively low level. I had lots of space or capacity, should we say, in my head for learning new things. So I took on a personal training course, which was, I think it was through PT Academy, and it was all self-taught, but the assessments were face-to-face. So I got given a mentor, I allocated a mentor, and I met him maybe 2 or 3 times, and I filled in the booklet and I did all the kind of coursework at home. And then for the actual exams I had to prepare and do a in-person exam for my level 2, and then the same for level 3. So you submitted your workbook at the end to get marked, and you did another like a PT session with your coach, and then they passed or failed you. So I passed that by the May 2017, I think it was. But at that time I didn't really do anything with it because I got a promotion at work, and I had this whole new policy area to learn about and all this new stuff to do, and I just didn't really have the capacity in my head to be able to be a personal trainer as an extra job. At that time actually Pure Gym opened up in my town, and they were offering, well, as they do, the model to work at Pure Gym is you give 15 hours of your time to the gym floor and to do classes, and then the rest of the time there you can be a personal trainer for your clients and take them on. So to have a 37-hour a week job plus do 15 hours on the gym floor at a Pure Gym and then do clients on top, I just could not do it. So I decided I was going to do a body pump qualification, and let's not talk about that. I failed. Probably didn't fail miserably. The problem that I had was I couldn't retain, it was 11 or 12 tracks that you had to learn, and you had to learn all of like the movements, the rep counts, encourage the class to keep going, and I couldn't learn the choreography and like retain it in my head, and it was stressful. I wasn't enjoying it. I loved the training days. We got to do 2 days in person training, and was it before we started? I think it was before we started, and then you had a few weeks until you had to video yourself doing a class. Anyway, I loved the training days, but I hated the trying to learn the choreography. I did work in quite a stressful job at the time, and I had a stressful commute that took 2 hours out my day just commuting, and it was like 6 in the morning. I had to leave to get through the traffic, and it wasn't the best time, and I gave it up. I didn't end up being a body pump instructor nor a PT, but I do feel that the personal training qualification done wonders for my own training. Now I'm able to know how to program myself a gym session, well, actually I'm quite rusty, but at that time I knew how to program myself a gym session. I knew the orders to do things in, I knew the muscle groups and how they worked, I knew a little bit about nutrition. Obviously, as in a personal training course, you don't get a ton on nutrition because it's not a nutrition course. And personal trainers are not really qualified to be given massive nutrition advice, so they don't put much in the course. But it's helped me substantially with my own training, which is again, and it's something that I was really interested in, so I actually really enjoyed learning all about the PT side of things, even though I did nothing with it. So I wouldn't say it was wasted time at all, because it's been valuable for me and like my own training journey. In March 2019 I got married. So prior to that I started like a new in the gym weights training program, and it was I don't know if you've heard of James Smith PT Academy. No, not James Smith. James Smith, who is a personal trainer. He is English but lives in Australia, and he was absolutely fantastic. I signed up to his program and got a gym program made for me, and I followed it for 7 weeks, and I definitely dropped weight and gained muscle, and it was absolutely fantastic, and that was how I felt confident for my wedding. So moving forward to March 2020, I was probably at quite a heavy weight again. See, my weight kind of fluctuates, not that I go on weight, I go on how I feel, and I wasn't feeling brilliant, so I rejoined a gym. I got another promotion at work actually, and I rejoined a gym again just before COVID hit. And at that point, when COVID hit, I started to train inside. I had all this extra free time because I didn't have an hour commute to work and then an hour commute home, and I had my lunch break. I know we were only allowed one walk a day, but I was getting up in the morning and I was doing, like, all the PTs started to offer online classes and stuff, so I was doing this really intense class like 2 or 3 times a week, and I think I was pretty physically fit by the May of that year of 2020 by doing those classes. And I was going my one daily walk a day, which was what, like 40 minutes to an hour, whilst working from home. But with all this free time, my well-being just got so much better, not having to commute into the office every day. It made such a difference. But in the May 2020, sorry, I'm getting all mixed up. In the May 2020, I fell pregnant with my daughter. So I barely could do anything. I could hardly look at screens because I felt so sick, and I was signed off at work because the emails, like typing an email and seeing the letters on the screen, was basically triggering, like, you know that feeling when you're in a car and you're on your phone? It was just making me feel like I was going to be sick, and it was awful. So the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, I could barely do anything. Second trimester, I think I tried to walk a wee bit, but by the third trimester I was sore, my hips were sore, my back was sore, I was tired, I was heavy, I did absolutely nothing. My daughter was born in the February of 2021, and she was born by C-section, so that put me out the game for a minimum of 6 weeks. So by 11 weeks postpartum, and I think it was roughly like May of 2021, I joined a circuits class, but I did take it very easy. I didn't push myself too much because I knew that the core strength was like non-existent. Like, all my stomach muscles were ripped apart and pulled out and put back in, so obviously I didn't have the strength that I previously had, so I just had to build up slowly through the circuits class. And then that kind of stopped as well, because I think it all moved back indoors. This was an outdoor circuits class that I was going to. And then I kind of did the boxercise class on the inside, and then that class got cancelled as well. So that kind of threw me back to, well, there's not really much to do. Tying in with lack of sleep and having a baby to look after, I was exhausted, so I wasn't really looking to do much. But in the October of 2021, I found Robin Drummond, and please check her out. She's absolutely fantastic. I am still a member now, and this is what we're in, May 2023, so easily a year and a half. Love it. And I started to do home workouts 3 days a week in the house on nap time. I didn't maintain that very well because, as I said, I was just exhausted, and when my baby was napping I just wanted to sit and do nothing. So I didn't really get into it, and then I kind of probably tried again in the January 22, and kind of 22 kind of went that way for me, like dipping in and out of doing workouts and not really sticking to much. And then I tried a few different challenges and didn't really get very far. So it got to January 23 and I've decided to get my finger out, and I joined Robin Drummond's Reset Challenge group, which was 6 weeks of just accountability, checking in with Robin every single week and trying to stick to the 3 goals that I set, and gratitude, and like looking after yourself a little bit. It's like I've learned so much in these last. I've done 2 rounds of that group now, 2 full 6 week sets. I think we had 2 weeks break in the middle, and we've just finished our second 6 weeks, and it's been so good. I have absolutely loved it, being able to check in, and I've learned so much more, and I've got myself back in the gym. So it got April the 1st, I think I was midway through the second challenge or second group, and I decided, like, I've been doing the 3 workouts a week. I was struggling with the steps. The weather was part to play in that, and me just being like, I'm working from home, sometimes I'm really busy. But I got to the 1st of April and I was like, right, I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to do the gym program, because Robin also offers a gym program on her website, soon to be app. So I rejoined the gym. I focused on my steps, I'm focusing on my nutrition, and I'm focusing on getting the gym weights workouts in, because I know that's worked for me in the past. So this time, here I am today. This is week 3 fitness vlog. So I'm well into my 3rd week now. You'll be seeing this when I'm probably into my 4th week, actually, possibly. Can't remember how the dates work out, but probably into my 4th week. I know motivation might flag round about end of week 3, start of week 4. It always happens for me, but this time I'm going to push through. I've never been more motivated to just feel better. Since having my baby, I've been very conscious of the middle section around here, and it's not even how it looks. Yes, I don't like how it looks, but clothes are just uncomfortable on me. If I size up, they're far too big. If I go for my size, they fit when I'm standing up, but as soon as I sit down, they're a bit tight. But if I sit down for any length of time, it's sore. Like, it's like, because I'm so restricted, and this is the time where I need to work on this and stick to something and change. So this is what I am currently doing, and here I am in the present day on week 3 of my fitness journey, and I am absolutely sticking to this throughout the whole summer. Hopefully by the time it gets to autumn and winter, when motivation definitely disappears because the weather turns horrible and the mornings and the nights are dark, and you're waking up in the dark and going to sleep in the dark, finishing work in the dark, it's not pleasant. But I'm hoping by that point I've got all of my habits well ingrained into my just general life, that I can maintain it and keep it going. So here we are, and here's this vlog, and I will show you kind of how week 3 has gone as well. I'll put that on to the end of this video for anyone that's interested in seeing how week 3's gone. I've managed to be going to the gym twice, and I've hit my steps both days. This is only the Tuesday, so I'm doing well, and I'm confident that I'm going to get results this time round. So that's my fitness journey from 2012 to 2023, and it's to be continued. It's absolutely at the beginning. Like, I know I've just told you 11 years of history, but I think that history has set me up for where I am today. I'm learning new bits of information by listening to podcasts and listening to Robin and talking to Robin, and I am just getting all these little mindset tips and tricks, which I will absolutely share with you in another video. I've had 2 or 3 pieces of advice that's golden, and it's keeping me accountable and on track, and I'm absolutely where I need to be right now. So I wanted to just kind of go over what I've learned to date through all of that history that I've just been through. So I've learned so much about training, exercise, through obviously my PT course, through all the experience of different classes and different methods of exercise that I've used. I've learned lots to be in a really good position now to be knowing kind of how to work out and what works for me. I've also learned loads about nutrition. As I said, I used to track calories really, really meticulously, but that has taught me so much about protein and carbs and fat and portion control and what foods I need to be putting into my body to get the best results, what foods keep me full. I'm always looking for new recipe ideas. If anyone's got any, please drop them in the comments, because I do get bored of the same foods all the time. But I feel like I'm in quite a good position to kind of be able to make a plate or do a food shop or do a weekly meal plan to do the food shop to make the plates. That feels like I'm in a really good position. I've been doing it for years, and just doing it really, really helped. Through all of that, I have learned about balance. So you don't need to be 100% all of the time. 80-20 is a good rule. You still have to have the things in life that you want to have. So if you want to have the chocolate, or if you want to just lie down for 5 minutes or 20 minutes and scroll on your phone, do it, because that is balance. You don't have to be on it 100% of the time to see results. It's about consistency over time, and that is something I've definitely learned much more recently than in previous attempts at fitness. Like, I used to jump in all guns blazing, like I'm going to do 5 days a week and I'm going to track every calorie, I'm going to go really low calories. That's not my goal this time. I'm going to do it slow and steady, and I'm going to enjoy the chocolate. I'm going to have chocolate every single day, but I'm going to make sure I have a small amount. And I'm going to talk to you about that in another video. 2 more things that I've learned is the importance of self-care. So I make sure I'm getting enough time to rest. I'm making sure that I'm getting enough time to do, like, I'll look after myself, do my skincare, I'll wash my hair. I am trying out curls today, and with my curl mousse. My hair's still a little bit damp, but it's nearly dry. I'm just trying new things, and I like to put my makeup on, and I feel good when I put my makeup on, or I buy myself new clothes and I feel good in the new clothes. To me, that's self-care. Just doing things that make me feel good and better about myself, and I've noticed the importance of that recently. And lastly, the big one is I've learned not to compare my own body to my pre-pregnancy own body. I'm never going to get a stomach like I did in the pictures that are on my Instagram from 2017. That's just not possible. I've had a baby, I've had a C-section, I have got the C-section pouch. That's probably not going to go. Even if I lose body fat, the skin's still going to be there. The skin might still be loose, but I've made peace with that. And what I'm going for is feeling fit and happy and comfortable in my clothes and in my daily life. So not to compare myself to myself pre-pregnancy, and also not to compare myself to others, because that is the other thing that I used to do that used to just set me back. Like, oh, they've done the same amount as me, and they've got, look at their body and look at mine, and it's not helpful. And my body's never going to look like a lot of the girls that I see in the gym, and that's okay. Everybody's individual, and everybody's journey is different, and everybody's life is different, and that is okay. Just do what works for you, and fit in enough workouts into what you can manage what fit in your steps and workouts and nutrition around your life, rather than fitting your life around your steps, your workout and nutrition, really makes a world of difference and really helps with consistency. So I am going to leave you there. I'll catch up with you in week 4.